Hi everyone, this is an informational video on lesson planning and implementation assignment, so your PBA. And you can see here this is from your syllabus, and this gives a really explicit detail on everything you need to do for the assignment. There are 3 parts to it that I'm going to be going over. What this comes down to is, and during these times of COVID, this would have been a lesson that you would have actually performed or taught in class. And unfortunately, we are not able to do that this semester, but hopefully it can be a lesson that you teach hopefully in the future. So I hope that you go into this assignment thinking really forward thinking about the fact that this is a lesson you would teach, right? It needs to be based in a foundation of the background that we talked about in class, of relationships, and about having all those elements of lesson planning that we're going to look for. Okay. So you can read all of this yourself. And I'm going to be focusing on the first draft that I want you to do. But I'm also going to kind of go over a couple of different parts here. So this part here, part 1, a description of your school, grade level expectations, your students. Those A and B, I want that to come from your actual field hours site. I'm going to say that again. I want that to come from your field hours site, okay? Because I think this is a good background for you to be thinking about a school and your students. Where do you get that information? From your teacher. Also from the Fairfax County website, or Loudoun County, or Prince William County, Manassas City, wherever you are, okay? And so you're going to be giving a description of the school and the grade level expectations. That can come from yardsticks, right? A description of your students, and their academic readiness, right? I don't need specific students, like I don't want a list of your students, but I want to know what your teacher says about them, what you know about them from the times you've spent in their online classrooms. What characteristics have you pointed out? And I do know that you're not going to be teaching this to the class, but what would you want to know about a group of students if you were going to teach them? Okay. Really important. The rationale I do want you to do. So, and I want you to think about the instructional decisions you are making, not based on what we know about our students, okay, those specific students, but based on what you know about why a particular method might be good, right? So why you might teach, and I'm bringing this up here to this lesson planning. So you can see here, I'm going to go over this in a second, but why have you chosen gradualists, or why constructivists? Why did you choose the hook and the closing and the questions you chose? Okay, so right here's where I'm looking, and I'm going to go over this document in a minute, but just wanted to kind of read exactly what I had there. And that's your rationale, okay? That's your rationale. So part 2 here, a detailed lesson plan with the following elements, A through H, okay? So you will give those detailed plans. Obviously, the two-phase reflection we're not going to be able to do. So we're not going to be teaching, so you'll be able to delete that. But you will give a summative reflective statement and goal setting for future planning. Please read this paragraph here about the importance of balance, and also make sure that you have a lot of good open-ended questions. All right. So the next thing I want to bring up is the actual lesson plan, so you know what it looks like. Here it is. You will do your name, the content and grade level, so science and 4th grade, whatever you decide. The standard, this is where your SOL goes, okay? This is going to be, we're going to talk about this. We haven't talked about this yet, but this is going to be an objective that you would have had for teaching the lesson, something you want to work on. Objectives. This is your K and your U and your D. Your K to UD goes right here. This is where you'll list any technology that you'll be using in the class. Here's how you'll consider differentiation, okay? You're going to go into that deeper into another course, but please do include differentiation that you would think that your students might need. This is the big section here, the procedures section. Hook, detail steps, checks for understanding, things we've been talking about in class. Like, this is going to be a really big box. This is going to get really big. How are you going to know? They know what they know. Formative and summative assessment go here. Any accommodations or modifications that you had to make? Of course, you're going to have learn more about that later, but please include that. And this is where your reflection will go, okay? You can go here, or it can be listed at the bottom of your PBA. I want to point out this, materials and time. You obviously don't have any of that for this section, or this section, or this section. You're not writing out there, but that goes in this box. You could really black out these boxes if you wanted. This really only belongs here in this procedures section. We really think about the timing of everything. I want to bring over the rubric, and I'll attach this to the video when I post it. Section 1, it talks about, so this is how we're grading it, topic identification. I've highlighted this because instead of collaborating with the teacher, you'll collaborate with me to make sure that topic I think is okay to do. And you will just include that in your first draft. So anything that's not highlighted here doesn't change. I already mentioned this, the classroom, school, and context. You'll use your field placement site even though you're not teaching the lesson. But do talk to your teacher about the classroom and students. Again, I say it here, description of student learners. I want to know who these students are, even though you're not teaching them. So here's a great list of things that you need to pay attention to when we're planning our lesson. This explicit connections are made to course readings. Think yardsticks, okay? Rationale, I talked about this already. Why are you teaching this topic in the way you have chosen, in whichever grade level you have chosen? So why did you choose that particular hook, that gradual release, right? What were some of the decision making that you did in order to best teach this imaginary group of students, okay? All of these stay exactly the same, okay? All of these parts of the rubric. Down here, the video reflection, not required. All right. So that's a little bit of information there about this topic. Your first draft is due March 14th. Second draft, April 4th. Final to me on April 18th. Okay. This has come obviously straight from your syllabus here that I'm holding up. So please look at this and look at the rubric in order to help you. And I know you're going to do a great job.